Hello, happy Thursday. Today is actually Thursday, June 8th, 2023, and I am Latanya. I am a well-being coach. I primarily work with women who feel overwhelmed and want to get clear about some things so that they can make better choices and do more of what brings them joy. Sometimes that involves working on communication styles, letting go of things that are not helpful or that they've outgrown. And what else? It's just a lot of different things. So that's a little bit about me and what I do. And if you're watching this page, you might have, or watching this video, you might have come across it on um, channels that I created years ago when I primarily focused on homeschooling um, and motherhood. And I still talk about homeschooling and motherhood, but if you've been watching recently, I don't talk about those things as often because my heart is really set on sharing more about well being and mental wellness. Um, because of my own journey, and I want to support other people on their journeys. So that's just a little update. But today you are here because one question that I've been asked often as a homeschool parent and as just a person, a working from home full time person, entrepreneur person, all of these different titles that I've had the privilege and honor to wear. Um, this question always comes up like, how do you have time, or how can that particular person make time for stuff that's just outside of their normal responsibility. So I mentioned homeschooling. So like you're homeschooling your kids, that takes a lot of effort, a lot of time. Or maybe you work a full-time job and it uses, a lot of your not brain space, so a lot of knowledge, and you're maybe always on. Or maybe you are not working full time, you're not homeschooling, but you are a full time homemaker in your house, and the responsibilities of your home, it just takes up a lot of time and effort. So when it comes to um, thinking about like, well, I use a lot of time on my top priority. So I don't necessarily have time to go have lunch with a friend or work on my art. Like maybe you have this love for art and you're like, well, I really don't have time to work on it. Or maybe you're a writer and you haven't been writing as much as you would like to write. Um, my answer when these types of questions come up is to suggest that you take a minute to think about what you can and what you're willing to let go of so that you can have a little more space in your life to do that thing that just keeps popping up for you. So, what does that look like? First, you got to take inventory. Take inventory of what you are currently doing, what you're currently responsible for, what are your current expectations for yourself, what are expectations that other people have for you that you want to follow through on or you need to follow through on. And that's when I'm talking about other people, it's mostly like if you do work, like you gotta you gotta do what the company needs you to do because that's what they're paying you for, right? Or if you are homeschooling your kids, then you gotta set up some type of plan, whether it's unschooling or traditional homeschooling, whatever it is, you still have a plan or idea of what you're providing for your family. But whatever those expectations are, like I said, for yourself or expectations that came from other people, go ahead and take inventory of those expectations so that and responsibilities so that you can actually see what it is that you're spending time on. And then when you do that, think about like, okay, for instance, when it comes to working or homeschooling, maybe you know that you work for real 8 hours a day, or you're homeschooling directly your kids 3 hours or whatever, however many hours a day. Once those things are kind of set into their time blocks, because usually those things are in particular time blocks, then you can see the space around it where you do um, have like some open time. And you might notice that, wow, okay, I'm actually not using as much time as I thought I was using. So I can commit to, or maybe you realize that you are using more or just as much time, but sometimes we don't know how much time we're actually expending if we don't take the opportunity to check in with ourselves. And so once you take the moment, a moment to check in with yourself, also taking into account like, are you cooking dinner? Do you have plans to do household chores on certain days of the week? Do you have extracurricular activities that you need to get your kids to, or did you volunteer to be a part of a community organization? Like taking into account all of those responsibilities. And then thinking about, okay, now when I look at all these things, is it anything that I can let go of? Or can I delegate it? Like, can I make my workload lighter by delegating some of it to a team member who has the capacity or has the knowledge or desire to do the work? Can I delegate some of the lessons or assignments that I have for my kids to my kids? Like, are they old enough to handle it? Or is there a teacher or tutor who is more passionate or excited about teaching this particular topic? Or do I have to be the one to do it, right? But you get to look at it and you get to decide. And if you decide to hold on to everything and no space opens up, then I would say give yourself permission to be okay with that. Now, if it is like, well, I really do want to go to lunch with a friend once a month, once you look at your calendar, just take a moment and say, okay, well, I'm available on this day. You can reach out to that person, say, hey, I'm available on this day. Can you, or are you available on this day also? And they might be, or maybe y'all plan for the following month. Or if it's, well, I do want to write more, or I do want to create art more. Where can you still, and it's really not stealing, but where can you take 15 minutes, right? When we're writing, when we're creating, you don't have to set aside uh, a 20, 30-minute block or an hour block. It can be a small amount of time or a short amount of time that allows you to just do that thing that you have a desire to do. It does not have to be all or nothing. And sometimes I really think that's the answer to the question is it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And sometimes when we make it all or nothing, or we feel like it has to look a certain way, then we don't do anything at all. And then we're disappointed. But if you give yourself permission to say that in this season, during this particular time, after I've taken into account what I have the capacity to give, what I'm responsible for, this is the time or the space that I have available for this interest, this idea, this relationship. I'm going to dedicate the 10 minutes, the once every other month or whatever outing to hanging out with my friends or whatever, because this is what I found in my space that I had available to give. And so since it's available, then I'm going to use it for the thing that I'm interested in. And once you give yourself permission to not look at it as all or nothing, you will feel, I think you'll feel better. I think you'll feel a little more joy and contentment, because at least you're nurturing the thought, the idea, the relationship, versus just setting it aside and saying, well, I'm not doing anything because I can't do it the way that I want to do it. So, anywho, when it comes to making time for activities outside of your normal responsibilities, give yourself permission to utilize whatever availability you have, and make the most of that space, nurture it, be all in it, enjoy it, and don't belittle it. Don't treat it as if it's not enough just because it's not showing up the way you think it should. So, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember to pursue joy, embrace the present, and live fully. And if you need support or help on your journey, remember you can also reach out or schedule a complimentary call with me at jointheordinary.com/discovery. I'll see you later. Bye.